Hi, I'm Dave. I'm the different kind of adventure guide. Travel is an adventure, but above all, it's fun. My videos are for the discriminating travelers who prefer to travel at their own pace. They're for people who have an intense curiosity for the world around them and what they can learn through travel. These videos are for people who love art, history, culture, as well as the people of the countries they visit. For you, deciding on a place to stay and possible restaurants to visit are the fun parts of the planning stage. Discovering a new restaurant in a foreign city is the fun part of being there. You probably have enough curiosity about the country to learn a few helpful phrases in their language. Perhaps you've even learned the verb to be and have in the present, past, and imperfect tenses and be able to count to 100. For the rest, all you need to do is just use your hands and laugh a lot and have fun. In my videos, you'll see beautiful scenery, historic buildings, and art. You'll meet some of my friends, some old and some new. All of this interwoven with history and laced with a dry British humor, for that's where I'm from. Before making a reservation for your trip, please contact me for the names, phone numbers, and email addresses of the local expert guides. They're all personal friends of mine and very well known, so I suggest you book them well in advance of your departure. 9 months is not too early. If you're a second-time visitor, they can even recommend fascinating out-of-the-way places to visit that are seldom seen by other tourists. Adventures with Dave is an adventure in the difference. Remember, it's the difference that makes the difference. And the difference is you. Northern Italy, the land of 100 cities and 100 towers, many of which lean. Italian chaos continued in an unbroken timeline from the 7th century BC. These buildings were started in about 1100 and finished in about 1358. The bell tower was only 3 stories high when the architect and builder saw that it leaned. They said to themselves, allora, and finished it anyway. The political chaos of the 1100s. The theory of the day was that the Pope held the spiritual domain while the Holy Roman Emperor the temporal. And all is in balance. Tu sei pazzo! You're crazy! Frederick I of Germany, direct descendant of Michael of Hungary, who was a brother of King St. Istvan, and also a descendant of King Bela I, known as Barbarossa, born in 1120, crowned Holy Roman Emperor in 1155. Barbarossa was the crux of the future European/Italian chaos, as he was the product of 2 of the most powerful Germanic families. His father, Duke Frederick II of Swabia of the Hohenstaufen dynasty of Weiblingen, and his mother, Judith of Bavaria, a Welf. He made 6 expeditions into Italy to subdue the rising, independence-loving city-states. Defeated by the Lombard League of City-States at the Battle of Legnano in 1174, in 1183 at the Peace of Constance, he was forced to give the city-states the right to elect town magistrates. He died in Turkey on the Third Crusade in 1190. Barbarossa's son and heir was Henry VI, born in 1165 in Nijmegen, today's Holland. He was king of Germany 1190 to 1197. He married Constance of Sicily in 1186 and was king of Sicily 1194 to 97. Meantime, he was Holy Roman Emperor from 1191 to 1197. In Germany, he suppressed a revolt by his cousin, King Henry the Lion, in 1190. He then besieged Naples, as southern nobles had put King Tancred on the throne of Sicily. He had to give this up and go back to Germany because Henry the Lion had revolted again. He had a stroke of luck. The Duke of Austria gave him Richard the Lionheart, who was ransomed for 150,000 silver marks. He used the money to raise an army to take Sicily. Meantime, Tancred had died, and the boy William III was on the throne. Henry VI captured Salerno and was crowned king, but he had William blinded and castrated, and his supporting nobles burned alive. This absolute monarch died in Messina of malaria in 1197, and his son and heir, Frederick II, was born in 1194. But not so fast, whoa! By this time, Europe had already been divided into those who supported the temporal power of the emperor versus the spiritual power of the pope. Remember Barbarossa, who was from Weiblingen. His wife was a Welf. In Italy, the city-states had sprung up all over the place, each taking sides. Some sided with the emperor and called themselves Guelfi, an Italianized word for wealth. Those that sided with the pope called themselves Ghibellini, a corruption of Weiblingen. Starting with Barbarossa and going forward into the Renaissance period, the city-states that were lined up against him and his successors were Arezzo, Forlì, Modena, Osimo, Pisa, Pistoia, Siena, Spoleto, and Todi. On the other hand, the city-states that supported him were Bologna, Brescia, Crema, Cremona, Genoa, Lodi, Mantua, Orvieto, and Perugia. There were some, though, that chose sides depending on who could give them more power, prestige, and land. And they included Bergamo, Ferrara, Firenze, Lucca, Milano, Padua, Parma, Piacenza, Treviso, Verona, and Vicenza. This is what all the city-states looked like, each of them vying for power. It wasn't just Guelfi versus Ghibellini, it was Ghibellini versus Ghibellini and Guelfi versus Guelfi. The Pope and the Empire be damned. Pisa Ghibellini swallowed Lucca Guelfi, and Firenze gobbled up both. By the mid-1400s, this conflict had fizzled out, but not before the Guelfi in Firenze split into the blacks, supported by the families Donati and Spini, and the whites, Cerci and their ally. The blacks won, being supported by Boniface VIII. Dante, a white, was exiled, dying in Ravenna in 1321. One conflict, when ended, begets the beginning of another conflict. This was the Medici versus the Republican Florentines. The latter threw the Medici out twice before being permanently vanquished by the Medici, who ruled till the last one, Gian Gastone, died in 1737. From the 1600s on to the 1800s, you see Italy become very regionalized and Germany increasingly fragmentized until the 1800s with the rise of the Habsburgs, who own a major chunk of Europe, including all of northeastern Italy, the Papal States the center and north, excluding Tuscany, Savoy the west, and the Spanish Bourbons on the throne of the south, including Sicily. The character of the chaos has gone from city-state to regional to foreign regional occupation to the present so-called unified political chaos of over 200 political parties and a tangled web of almost insurmountable bureaucratic snarl. The present chaos in Firenze goes back to the 1800s, when Firenze was ruled by one of Napoleon's relatives, and they set up a street numbering system of 4 digits. Very sound. However, this was followed by a much more sensible and logical one. Black for homes and red for businesses. Great! Red and black numbers bore no relationship in distance from one another. On top of that, you have a street called Via Monalda, and underneath that the word Gia, meaning once, or formerly, Corso degli Strozzi. So, it depends who you're talking to as to what name they use, and you bloody well better know the difference between one and the other, and where they are, and whether you're red or black. It's crazy. Compound the chaos. Massimiliano told me a carabinieri joke. 2 carabinieri are walking in the road. One is in the middle. After half an hour, the other one says, "It's my turn to walk in the middle." The real joke is that the Carabinieri, la Polizia, the state police, la Stradale, the highway patrol, the Polizia Municipale, and the Vigili Urbani carry loaded pistols in vastly outdated holsters and all with empty chambers. The powers that be are afraid that they will shoot themselves in the foot. Worse yet, they may not fire unless fired on. That's not just a bad joke. It stinks. Max, this is for you. Not even the Carabinieri Special Forces, let alone the Polizia Municipale, can do what you're about to see unless trained by Kent Turnipseed.
In addressing somebody that's close, you have to be able to hit from the hip. You cannot see sights. So you have I will be shooting these targets. Can you see me, David?
Yep. You're good to go.
In addressing a target, you have to be a can't be.
The turnip seed technique is the only one that keeps you in balance at all times, with pistol, rifle, shotgun, and fully automatic shoulder-fired weapon. Kent and I demonstrate this by shooting an M4 5.56 millimeter rifle in 3-shot bursts, with 1 foot off the ground while moving. There is no accompanying sound to these 2 clips. Kent does it a whole bunch better than I do because he's a whole bunch younger than I am. Now let's explore Firenze beyond the Duomo and the Ponte Vecchio. Hold on to your seats, you're in for a delightful adventure. Let's go.